Hello and welcome to something a bit unexpected, although I did foreshadow it. This is PowerWash Simulator. So you know that Brental Floss song about Super Mario Sunshine where there's a verse where Miyamoto asks why would anyone want to clean up someone else's mess? Turns out a lot of people want to do, because this is actually a project that was financed with the Square Enix Collective Initiative. Basically, the Square Enix equivalent of the EA Indie initiative of them supporting small developers to create a project. And this actually is the game that actually, stood out the most of it. Constantly being updated. I did follow its development because Markiplier started playing it in early development and I was curious about it. And it's actually a fun time if you have the patience for it. It's set in a fictional town called Muckingam. Yes, it actually has a story and lets you clean a lot of these vehicles and places. But we're not here for that. We're here for crossovers. At least for the time being. Maybe one day I will show the story, who knows. But for the time being, we're crossovers. And we do have a lot of things. This thing has crossover a lot. By the time we're recording this, it has Warhammer 40k for some reason. Also some seasonal events. More recently, one about Alice in Wonderland, also Back to the Future, SpongeBob, okay, you have to watch Invisible Car, Tomb Raider, and today's subject, Midgar. Enter the realm Midgar to power wash an iconic set of vehicles, mechs, and locations. So without further ado, let's see what our protagonist has been hired for, starting with the Hardy-Daytona and Shinra Hauler. On behalf of everyone at the Shinra Electric Power Company, I'd like to welcome you to Midgar. It could not have been easy to come the way out here, so your presence is much appreciated. To raise our population's morale, we are opening an exhibition to celebrate the long and varied history of our fair city's motor industry. Two of its key pieces, however, have emerged from storage in, let's just say, less than pristine condition. Eager to take center stage at the exhibition, they must be spotless, and that requires the attention of someone who understands the full meaning of that word. None other than you. Signed, Reeve Tuesti.
I'll get to it.
Reeve is actually relatively chill in telling you, what to do and everything, but let's properly begin. We are in the exhibition hall of the Shinra building. Again, while not, potentially super overly detailed, they did borrow a bunch of assets from Remake Part 1, and it kind of shows, including some of the models of the stuff that we actually clean. We mostly have to clean vehicles, so don't expect, anything organic. It would have been hilarious, but, So, for example, since, again, in the budget, we don't really see what's outside the window, but we do have stuff like a Midgar poster. You will receive sporadically messages when you start a job, and at each 20%, so 20, 40, 60, 80, and at complete. So if I start on the... Okay, first of all I'm showing both the Hardy-Daytona and, the hauler, the vehicles that will ever be used, so... And also my equipment, so to speak. These crossovers do give you a preset, but normally you have a bit more choice, in what to do, including... Well, with the nozzles you actually do have, the same choice you have in the game. So, it depends on the situation. I will explain in just a second.
Should we change the currency to dollars now, I see?
It's an exchange rate, so to speak. As you are new to Midgar, allow me to say a few words by way of introduction.
Yes. So in the Italian Reeve.
I am the director of urban planning, responsible for the design of the entire city, including its hub, the Shinra building, in which you're currently working.
A city that I'm sure Shinra takes good care of.
We will actually discuss that
demolish.
in a future job. Go on, Drova.
But yeah, it's interesting. It seems that we do get indeed canon material for the 7 franchise in an indie game, which is
okay,
interesting.
Technically speaking it's not stated, but the way it's presented... Our organization, run by the lauded President Shinra, is pleading to 5 divisions: urban planning, space and aeronautics, advanced weaponry, research and development, and public security.
Imagine if you had Imagine if you had just me trying to talk to you about the tunnel while you're trying to do your job.
Technically speaking, it's not stated ever if it's canon or not, but I can tell you that I don't find any particular contradiction with the games. It just happens to say that a bunch of these, vehicles were properly cleaned up before the specific events of the game. You will see in the last part exactly where are we supposed to be, but as you can imagine, it's before, Cloud and the others assaulted the Shinra building in this case. Again, there's the bit of irony that, the vehicles, that they were actually used to escape with, have been cleaned by someone and been prepared properly.
Yeah, I was about to say, I guess we have our brave power washer to thank for our heroes being able to make their daring escape in vehicles that previously looked so rusted over that they could be broken apart by just a hammer.
This type of cover is dust more than anything. Your tools, again, this is a game for the people who are patient and unfortunately sometimes have to have a keen eye. The good news is that you have all the tools that you need to actually finish the job. Your worst enemy is impatience, because on the top left you have the total percentage of something being cleaned. When you over the cursor, or still the controller, but it functions like an actual FPS. So if you move the reticle to the specific area, it will tell you the percentage, of how much dirt is remaining in. You also have a button that immediately highlights where the remaining dirt is, so you have an idea where it actually is, And the game actually gives you a sort of a freebie, and if you manage to empty the bar, even if you physically haven't cleaned all of the dirt on the surface, it will automatically clean everything, it will count as automatically cleaned, And you also have your tablet, which tells you also the percentage on the places. So even if you don't see with the auto highlight function, you have a general idea where it could be thanks to knowing on the tablet. So again, the game gives you everything you need to actually finish the job, and you don't even have a time limit unless you're doing a specific challenge that's reserved for, it's equivalent of, say, the relic trials in Crash Bandicoot. Technically, you might need them for completion's sake, but for the purpose of the main game, you don't need them in this case. So you can actually take all the time in the world and finish the job. Again, this is perfect. This is actually why it works. It's perfect streamer bait, basically, because a lot of people actually just stream this game and talk the shit about everything. For this first part and this first job, you will see things as presented as I just did, But for the other 4 jobs that are available in this package, because otherwise it will take like 3 to 4 hours, in total, I just decided to, use my editing to speed things up where needed, so you can still see the progress without for us having to take forever to actually get there. Arguably, the streaming format probably would have been, for the better, but like I said, I don't want to waste too much time on this.
I see what you mean about patience. Like, all that washing and you technically only have 35% of the bike done, which I guess
that's about the entirety of your job. That includes also the hauler. So, again...
Oh, okay.
You can also check your tablet for more information on the matter. And again...
Okay, so in that case, you're almost halfway there.
Halfway there. The controls otherwise function exactly like an FPS, using control use which free stances between standing up, kneeling down, and crouching completely on the ground.
It looks like you're playing Metroid Prime, but Samus is a washer instead of a bounty hunter.
You have Alt Fire is with the right mouse click, which basically fires continuously the jet stream, so you don't have to keep holding the left mouse click, thankfully. You can rotate the different nozzles, which count as different weapons, with the wheel of the mouse, and otherwise you move with WASD and will rotate around the camera with, the proper mouse. The control settings are the equivalent of that when you play an FPS. I expect either Heidegger for public security or Professor Hojo for research and development to call upon your services and support as well. As head of public security, Heidegger commands the city's military, but Hojo concerns himself with pushing the boundaries of science.
Lovely.
Due to the highly secretive nature of their jobs, as well as their eccentric personalities, I recommend not making recalls. There are ways of working for that. So yeah,
Mis-
go on, Liv, sorry.
Mr. Tuesti, do you mind I'm working here?
Well, that's literally you shut up, you have to learn something. That's basically how it works also in the main game. Yes, again, as I mentioned, believe it or not, the main game actually does have a story in which you turn out to be the savior of this fictional town of Muckingam.
Really?
Yeah, it involves also time travel. It's actually very crazy when you get down to it, but...
Let me guess, one of the things you wash is a time machine.
Clothes? Now, onto the vehicles themselves. The motorcycle is a Hardy-Daytona, highly maneuverable and powered by our company first V-Type D0HC engine.
Daytona, you say?
That was even what it was called originally in the manual. This engine is the same as those used in all aircraft, so it does 0-60 in IC where you arrive.
Actually sounds really dangerous. Goes
I was
straight
about
to
to say.
60. I'm surprised no one's gonna crash yet.
I love it. Yes, let's put an airplane engine in a motorcycle.
I mean, that's peak Shinra when you get down to it.
You'd think
Yep.
they'd keep their display vehicles clean by themselves, though.
Well, apparently Shinra, they just literally pull them out of storage, so... And again,
Okay.
don't ask me how this guy managed to get from the fictional town of Muckingam, which I guess has to be America because of the dollars, in payment, to fucking Midgar. But then again, you also have a crossover with SpongeBob, so what the fuck do I know?
And
so I'm-
recently announced Shrek as well.
Yes, actually, I forgot that we
Yes.
actually didn't announce Shrek.
Yeah, in the direct.
Vehicle that has always been an integral part of city life.
Which is why I only saw one of it in the game.
Well, in the remake there are more, remember?
True, yeah.
Design. I assure you its appearance belies its true power. On an open freeway, the hauler could theoretically keep pace with the Hardy-Daytona.
How's that for foreshadowing? So this
Just theoretically, gone.
So this spraying thing, does it also have other nozzles for stuff like paint or something? Because I notice here it's managing to darken some bits of the hauler.
That's because depends. Well, each nozzle represents a different type of pressure that you apply. The white, the white has the bigger the radius, the slower the potency. The white has the biggest radius but the lowest efficacy, The green is taking a bit better, the yellow is usually the recommended one, and the red fires essentially a single straight line. Then, if you manage to finish story mode, you unlock the trident, or the prong as it's called, which essentially are 3 red nozzles, stuck together, which essentially if you manage correctly your distance, can actually be the best, weapon in the entire game. They clean instantly surfaces. Again, I'm just showcasing here for different surfaces and different dirt, react differently to your spray. And again, you also have unlimited water, so don't worry about wasting. Limited resources are reserved only for the challenges, if you really want to go for that. But if you want to play for the game itself, it's actually relatively cozy. Again, your worst enemy is impatience, the idea, no, I need to finish this right now, and it's not getting done, and I'm getting angry at it. No. That's the worst. That's the worst kind of attitude you can actually get for playing this game.
In terms of impatience, is it more a fact of like, oh, it's this one little nook and cranny
that I cannot seem to find? Yes.
Yeah.
I'm imagining now someone playing this while listening to the George Formby When I'm Cleaning Windows song.
Yeah.
No.
Oh my god.
When I'm cleaning windows.
Yes.
That being said, are there any intricate tools like a scrubber or something, or is it all just this one?
You do have also soap if you wanna, mellow out particular types of dirt like rust. But I tend to not use that because it's one of the few items that are actually consumables. You don't require the in-game money. Don't worry, no microtransactions here. But it requires in-game money to purchase the soaps, and you have to change them, periodically. So I prefer to just be stubborn and use the proper nozzles. What can I do about it?
So pretty much everything can be accomplished with just a simple nozzle.
Yes. Again, it depends on how much you want to, point and dedicate. Again, the best tip I can give you, use the yellow one. It doesn't have a big spread, but it's very, it gets shit done basically.
It's the all-rounder.
Mm-hmm.
So since this apparently does have a story involving you saving the world, dare I ask if there are boss fights in this game?
No. Like I said, you only clean up inorganic things, so that it's only about cleaning vehicles and places. Also, someone is playing Helldivers too. And yeah,
we can't clean Hojo.
When you are almost close to the end of the game, the 3 remaining things that you can, clean up get also signed in that, checklist. So as a small reminder, so you're going to bring up the tablet constantly. All of these were stuff that were added in quality of life updates, by the way. The base game was much more harder than that.
Cute. There we go.
Alright, let's have the closing panel after seeing the vehicles. You also get an instant replay. Yes, again, they treat these like a proper FPS.
So that's
player of the game.
That's what our heroic protagonist looks like.
Everything we heard it was. So much so, we're moving these to exhibit to the atrium. You have our deepest gratitude. Before I forget, after hearing my assessment of your work, Heidegger, Director of Public Security, insisted on contracting you for his own division. While he does have a tendency to come off as rough around the edges, I assure you it's a byproduct of his passion and military background. That said, his style does not match with everyone, so if it doesn't match with yours, tread lightly. Yes, this request is vastly different from our first, but think of it as proof of our trust in you. After all, we wouldn't bring someone of your caliber all this way just to wash down a few sets of dirty wheels. Reeve.
We only get $75.
Yes, it's the Ace Attorney stuff, logic. But again, Reeve has been relatively nice, in handling us. As you can imagine, Heidegger probably won't be the same, but that's what we need to find out in the next part when we clean the Scorpion Sentinel. And the request that we get in the middle of that. So see you for that.
See ya.
See ya.
So, does PowerWash go to the school of those indie games where, it seems innocent on the surface, but there's a deep, dark lore behind it the further you go in?
It's played with. I can tell you right now part of the story because, it's not a case of super spoilery or anything. Throughout the entire game, you realize very quickly that they went through the Hawaiian approach of building your city right next to an active volcano. I guess the ground is fertile for them, I suppose, And as a result, this is also justification of why things get dirtied up constantly and you need to actually clean them, because a lot of stuff, gets dusted in volcanic ash a lot of times. And throughout the game, you get a reminder that there's a possibility that the volcano will start to actually become active again, and is in dangerous. Then at one point, you get to clean that time machine that I mentioned, just not the way you think, and you're being told that you're sort of a prophesized hero from an ancient civilization, that will actually save the world from the volcano. And the last mission has you clean up basically a temple, which then activates and uses an Atlantean-esque device to calm down the volcano. Also, there is technically a villain, but you don't really confront him. In fact, you clean up some of his stuff, which is essentially Elon Musk when you get down to it. A rich, small millionaire who thinks his shit doesn't stink. And he gets a comeuppance at the end, so don't worry about that. Again, it's not the most Shakespearean type of stories, but it's packed with charm, I will say.
Yeah, it sounds like it works.